If you are watching the show this morning, perhaps you're dealing with migraines. Maybe you or someone in your family has recently or years ago had a concussion, and you can just tell that there are some residual side effects that you wish someone could help you with. We might have the answer for you this morning. Dr. Zach Walker is back on the show. He's with the BrainSpineConnection down in Ringgold. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me again.
Let's start with the name, the BrainSpineConnection. I said to you, sometimes until you've kind of walked a medical journey, you don't realize just how interconnected those two are.
Yes. That's what we tried to have the business kind of reflect. You know, the brain and spine are very much connected. So if we can really deal with the brain and also the spine with the chiropractic and what we call functional neurology, there's some real cool results that we can get out of that.
I have said for a long time now that I wish that we took as many and learned as much about anatomy and a little bit of medicine when we're teenagers as we do how to properly write a sentence.
Right.
Both are very important, but we don't really understand just how interconnected things are. So a lot of your mission is to educate people and to make it accessible. You've got a great deal going on right now where $35 gets you an exam and an overview. Yeah,
so I'm a big proponent in patient education. You know, you're the one going through that, so why not know some of the ins and outs, right? So yeah, the $35 is essentially, it's a consult and kind of a mini exam. So it allows you to kind of come in, ask any questions, comments, concerns that you have dealing with, you know, what's going on with you essentially. To see some of the chiropractic as well as the functional neurology tests and exams that we do, and really how we blend the two together to essentially try to help what's going on with you.
Okay, so I mentioned at the top if you're having migraines, if you've had a concussion, that one interests me because so many kids have concussions, more than one.
Absolutely.
And the way we understand them now is far different than it was 10 years ago. Are you stuck if you're the person who had a concussion 10 years ago?
No. I mean, that's the biggest thing with, again, we've talked about it before with neuroplasticity, right? It's just a fancy word for if we're giving the brain the proper stimulus, then it can really start doing its job to heal. I would say probably over 90% of the patients that we have as far as concussions, they've had 5, 10, 15 years ago. So being able to come in, because they're coming in with the traditional, you know, light sensitivities and sounds, but also maybe, you know, gut problems, not being able to concentrate, sleeping is bad. But if we give the right stimulus, you know, between chiropractic and the functional neurology aspect, really allowing the brain to start to heal, it's really awesome what can happen.
And how does it help because what you are is a functional neurology, right? That's
Correct.
What we're talking about?
Yeah, functional neurology, it's chiropractic neurology, but yeah, it's with emphasis in functional neurology.
Literally how you function.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the name implies is, you know, what's going on with you and how can we help you functionally, right? Once you leave.
So how does your focus differ maybe from somebody else's? With the migraines, for example, you know there are people watching saying, listen, I've tried everything.
Right. And that's the biggest thing. Again, there's only about 300 to about 400 of us in the entire country, right, of the functional neurologists, chiropractic neurologists. So we definitely use the chiropractic, but it's doing more of these what we call brain-based therapies and exercises. We've all heard of, you know, practice makes perfect, right? Well, it should be practice makes permanent. You know, the brain tries to learn from different sensations and senses we're doing throughout the day, light, sound, smells, things like that. But if it's learning wrong, right, it's going to have more pain. It's going to have more balance, or, you know, balance problems essentially. If we can go in and essentially start to, you know, help that and correct that, that's where that practice makes permanent comes into play. That's where the adjustments get a lot better and, you know, everything like that. 3+U
had just started, so this is now 9 or 10 years ago. I remember I had a conversation with a doctor who was here on the show, did not deal in neurology, but he was a doctor. And I was talking to him about some things regarding the brain. I remember he said to me, Julie, the brain is like the final frontier of medicine. There's so much about it that we're still learning. So it's no surprise that now here you sit those years later saying, look, here's what we now know. New discoveries are happening all the time.
Absolutely. And as much as we know about the brain, there's so much more we're still finding out, right? But that's the cool aspect is as long as we can, you know, start healing the brain. The brain knows the brain and body knows kind of what to do. It's been doing that for hundreds of thousands of years, right? So we're really essentially going in and giving it the right stimulus to essentially start healing. Okay,
so the brain and body know what to do. Tell me this, I'm sure you get patients who come and they sit in your office and they might not know how to tell you what is causing their problem, but they know their body.
Correct, and that's kind of going back to that consult, right? It's kind of allow you to, you know, whether it's brain fog or migraines, things like that, it might be hard to describe, But again, if they're like, well, when I wake up, I feel exhausted, throughout the day. I can't concentrate, whatever the case is. Like you were saying, they might not be able to explain it, but once you're more in tune with your body, it's kind of what it's trying to say, say to you essentially.
I used to tell some doctors that I went to see that please, guide me because I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
How much of your role in dealing with your patients is to sort of be that problem solver for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Again, me being a big proponent in patient education, it's one of those where essentially giving you the tools, right, to live your life the best you can. We're kind of to help you on your wellness and health journey, if you will.
You have a blog, so you're dealing with these types of issues in multiple ways on the blog, right? You address different things?
Correct, yeah, so the blog we started about a month ago. Each month is a different topic. And each week in that month, we talk about that topic and dissect a little bit more. So this last month was, what is brain-based chiropractic, right? Just in the word, you're like, that doesn't make sense to me, But each week we kind of break that down into the practice makes permanent. Do we really only use 10% of our brain? The biggest thing is it's patient education, but it's also giving quality information to the community, essentially, at the end of the day.
So here's where you can find him. His office is down in Ringgold, but he's all over social media. So if you want to look at the blog first, you can go to BrainSpineConnection.com and do it that way. He's on Instagram. You can find him there, always BrainSpineConnection, Facebook. If you want to go visit him and take advantage of that $35 consult and exam, the phone number is 298-7288, and he is in Ringgold, but it's still a 423 area code. Great to see you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me again.